Hi, this is Trey Passer. Welcome to my review with spoilers of Doom Patrol. It's on the DC streaming service, episode 1. I watched it Sunday morning. Um, I was looking forward to it. I watched the Titans, and they appeared in episode 4 as more supporting characters in the way to introduce Beast Boy to the show. And of course, and if you read the comics, Beast Boy was part of the Doom Patrol. But this pilot episode, it's basically giving you all the backstory on the various characters. Okay, you have Robot Man, voiced by Brendan Fraser. He's who's uh, Cliff Steele. Robot Man is AKA Cliff Steele. That was his real name. Okay, and then you have Matt Bomer, who plays Larry Trainer, AKA Negative Man. And then you have April Bowlby. She plays Elastigirl, Rita Farr. And then you have Diana Guerrera as Crazy Jane. Okay, now basically the pilot kind of opens with one particular character called Negative Man, not Negative Man, excuse me, sorry, Mr. Nobody. That's voiced by Alan Tudyk. Okay, he plays he's like the narrator and the chief villain. Eric, a character named Eric Morton, and he's introduced in a really fun and imaginative way. He's working with Nazis, and you see him, basically get his mind blown. I've got the exact quote where they say, ready to get your mind blown. And then I'll talk about him later. But he's kind of narrating the story about heroes and stuff. And this episode primarily focuses on, it kind of introduces us to the Doom Patrol via Brendan Fraser's character of Cliff Steele, who's, AKA Robot Man, who's basically a car driver. And this story takes, and the good thing about these various characters comes to the Doom Patrol in various different decades. And Brandon Fraser's character, Cliff Steele, he's a race car driver who's married, has a kid, but he's cheating on his wife. He doesn't care about much of anything. He's very selfish, and we kind of get introduced to his story first. And you see how, like I said, he's selfish. He's cheating on his wife. He doesn't really care about anything much. And what appears to be an accident, he has an accident, a car racing accident. When he finds out that his wife is he finds out that his wife knows he's cheating, and basically she's. And another thing I have to say about the show is it's very graphic. It kind of earns that kind of an R rating because there's nudity in it and stuff, and a bunch of F words and stuff. But anyway, he gets into a car accident where where we think supposedly he blows up, and he literally wakes up. Okay, and the first face he sees is the chief, Dr. Miles Calden, who's really, they call the chief. He played by Timothy Dalton. He was played by a different actor in the Titans episode, but they recast it with Timothy Dalton, who I really enjoy, who's become a better actor in my opinion since he's gotten older. But anyway, he's the chief, and he's kind of, you see that he's kind of, he's the first face he sees when he wakes up, and he's kind of telling him what to do and stuff, and then we find out that, of course, obviously that he's been in an accident. Of course, he tells him he can't quite remember everything, and the chief is getting him to learn how to do things, and then we find out, of course, that the only thing that survived was his brain, and he put his brain into a robot body, okay, and that's how he becomes AKA Robot Man, AKA Cliff Steele, and like I said, you get to know his backstory, and then we come to find out later on that when he starts having more memories, he finds out that he survived the car, the wreck. He actually won the race, but he actually made up with his wife, and him and his wife and his daughter, they were going off, driving one night after he got back together with his wife, and there was a car accident, and his wife died, and he got into a horrific car crash, and he thought at that moment when he remembers that his daughter died as well. And of course, that's, when he remembers everything. And of course, the chief didn't want to tell him that, so he could, to help him better with his recovery. Okay, and then he gets introduced to the other characters. He gets introduced to Elastigirl, Elastigirl played by April Bowlby, Rita Farr. She was an actress back in the 50s, and they show like a flashback of her. You can see she was a very powerful actress. She was filming a movie in the Congo in Africa, and she was a very conceited person. She sees a cameraman that basically has one arm, and she basically wants the producer to get rid of him because she said he's obstructing review. It's a very, even though, the producers tell him, listen, the crew likes him, you can with him, but he does get rid of him. And then you later see she has an accident where she's supposed to walk against this, on this little bridge, and it collapses and she falls into the water, and you see this gas goes into her mouth, and they pull her up out of the water, and then everybody's staring at her, and she's going, what's wrong? And they hand her a mirror, and you see her face, and her face starts to disintegrate, and you see her whole molecular structure, become basically elastic. She turns into basically a bunch of elastic. But again, that's the extent of what they show you. They don't really show you how the chief found her. They just give you a little, like I said, this story is mostly to give you the introduction to the Doom Patrol through Cliff Steele's character. He gets the kind of majority of the time. They just show you, like I said, a brief flashback of Elastigirl. And then they also show you the brief flashback of Larry Trainor, aka Negative Man, played by Matthew Bomer. He's a pilot in the '60s. He's a top flight, Air Force pilot. And you see he has a wife and kid, but you see he's also living a double life. That he's secretly secretly gay. And one day he's testing a experimental plane, and he gets zapped with this electrical force in him, and it causes his plane to literally crash and burn. But he survives it. Somehow he survives it. And you see him come out of the crash, but he's literally on fire. And they put him out, and that's how he becomes kind of negative. Like I said, they don't show again how the chief finds him and stuff, but hence he's Negative Man with all the bandages wrapped around him and the glasses. Okay, and then they also show you Crazy Jane, played by Dan Guerrero. She has 64 different personalities, and each personality has a superpower. They don't really show you too much. They show you some of her personalities, but they don't show you all of them. And she kind of makes a grand entrance. Okay, and I think the first thing she does, besides yelling at the chief, is to grab Robot Man's grabs him in the crotch, even though he doesn't technically has any balls. Okay, and so she's out there, her character, and you see kind of her and Robot Man kind of bond in that. And I guess in a way, I'm just assuming this. I don't know about in the comics. The relationship I think might be different in the comics, but it seems like he's kind of becoming like a father figure. I don't know if they may change that in later episodes, but it seems like, at least in this pilot episode, that he was more like a father figure to her in a way, and maybe he was seeing his daughter in her. Because he's remembering things, like I said, and he remembers, and then later he finds out from Crazy Jane that his daughter is still alive, even though the chief told him that she died. But he finds out later that she died. And later there's an incident where you see Crazy Jane decides, they want to go to town. She wants to go to town. Of course, the chief, he gets ready to go away, and he always tells him, don't go to town, stay here. Okay, the people are not ready for you. Okay, but Crazy Jane gets it in her head that she wants to go to town, and reluctantly the others go along with her. And of course, exactly what the chief was worried about happens. You see Rita Farr. She's in the restaurant, eating and talking with a waitress, and she finds all these disgusting rumors about herself, about what happened to her, because her character just basically, I think, kind of disappeared, and nobody knows whatever happened. And she gets highly upset about what happened, all the rumors about herself, and she literally falls apart, literally, and basically trashes the whole restaurant. And then, of course, that calls the other team. And you see, I'm sorry, you also see Negative Man, Larry Trainor. He goes into a bar, and he sits down and orders a drink, just for the fact that he can do something simple. And you see him exactly. He has an incident too where he loses control, and he zaps out of his wrapped up suit. Okay, so all this chaos is going on in town, and Crazy Jane and Cliff Steele, Robot Man, they try to go ready to stop it, but then another personality comes out, Crazy Jane, which is like a tall, fiery. I forgot what that personality is, but she kind of swats Robot Man to the side, and then goes off to her little rampage. And then, of course, Cliff Steele stops, and he actually literally pulls up the street to stop, Rita Farr, Elastigirl, from basically rampaging through the town. And she basically says she wants to go home, and and literally, she pulls herself together, and they go back, they come back to town, okay, and then they leave town after the absolute chaos they caused, and of course the chief comes back just at that moment and berates them for not, for exactly doing what he told them not to do. That he said, I was here, I had this home to protect you from the world because the world isn't ready for you, okay, and well, he says, listen, we got to leave, okay, and some of them want to go, some of them don't. Some of them want us to go with the chief, some of them don't, and they wind up eventually all going, getting ready, all getting in the bus in the bus to drive away. When literally they come into town and they get they get confronted by Mr. Nobody, Flavor Island, and you see the episode ends with them basically facing off against this. He opens up this big portal. It looks like this big fiery portal, and you see him on the bus with the chief, and that's how it ends, like that, with them getting ready to face off against whatever it is Mr. Nobody, not Mr. Negative, Mr. Nobody is going to do. Now, I love this pilot for a lot of reasons. Like I said, the Doom Patrol, the great thing about them, like I said, they're all from different eras. Like Rita Far's from the 50s, Larry Trainer, Negative Man, is from the 60s. Crazy Jane is from the 70s, and Robot Man, Cliff Steele, he's from the 80s. So they're all from different eras, okay? And when they all come together, and they all have their own personal history, and and I didn't know this at the time because I always thought the X-Men came first, but the Doom Patrol actually were created before the X-Men. So they're sort of like, they're sort of like the X-Men in a way, and the Chief is sort of like, the genius, the wheelchair-bound genius who pulls them all together and takes care of them and stuff, and gives them a place to stay. And I like that, again, these characters, you think all these characters with all their dysfunction and their tragic backstories, it kind of makes sense, that they all come, they all bring them all together into one team, and it works to me. I think the acting was great. I think Brandon Fraser, but like I said, the story is mostly centered through him, and I think he did some great work, the voice work, and then also he appears in the flashbacks that they do, to show that his character was a bit of an asshole, okay. And I like the actress who played Crazy Jane, Diane Guerrero. I thought she was good. And I loved April Burr as Elastic Girl, Rita Farr. I thought she was good. And Matt Bomer for the little, like I said, we didn't get too much into his backstory and Rita Farr's backstory, but I assume they're going to show you more of that as we go along through more episodes. I thought they did a really good job. And Timothy Dalton, like I said, I thought he did a real good job as the Chief. The guy that's was bringing this crazy team of dysfunctional people together. And like I heard somebody describe these people. These heroes are not like Batman and Superman that they can, like, Clark Kent can go back. Superman, he can put his glasses back on and go back to living a regular life, and Bruce Wayne can take off his mask and go back to living, the billionaire playboy lifestyle. But these characters can't do that. They can't take off their, they are what they are. They can't take off their disguises. The personas of who they are. They are who they are. Hence the name, Doom Patrol. Okay, so I liked it a lot, and I'm really looking forward to this. The rest of this is going to be 12 more episodes, so it's going to be 13 episodes altogether. And we didn't get to meet Cyborg, which I think is a good thing, because they didn't try to cram him in at the last minute. But we get to see him, I think, in the next episode, episode 2. He's going to be in from that episode forward. And I heard that they cast him, the actor who plays Cyborg, and his father. Okay, so there's going to be, I think it's Phil Morris. He's going to be Dr. Silas Stone, so I'm looking forward to seeing those two actors together and how he comes to meet the rest of the Doom Patrol. And I don't know if this character, they're going to eventually move his character, Cyborg, over to the Titans. They may do that. I'm going to see how this plays out. But he's going to fit in with these other characters because, like I said, he can't take off who he is. Cyborg is who he is. He's the guy that's half a cyborg and half a man, mostly cyborg and part man. So he kind of fits in with the rest of the Doom Patrol. Okay, and I'm interested in, like I said, in the relationships between the characters. I thought are very good. Like I said, Crazy Jane and Cliff Steele, aka Robot Man, you could see them forming sort of a bond, and Elastigirl and Larry Trainer, or aka Negative Man. You can see, wonder if they're gonna have a bond. Like I said, they made Larry Trainer, because I understand in the comic books, I think they said Negative Man had like a kind of a crush, an unrequited crush on Elastigirl in this. But I know in this version of they have Larry Trainer being a closeted gay man in this. So I don't know if they'll make him bisexual or they'll just keep him that he was, keep him gay like he was, which it will probably be a good thing to know. And I don't, a lot of people saying, well, he was never gay in the comic, but again, Matt Bomer, I know he's gay in real life, but it doesn't matter because he's played plenty of straight characters. And exactly. So I don't, if they make him continue to let him be gay or make him bisexual or whatever, and have him have a relationship with Elastigirl, who knows? Or maybe I don't know if they, because I know Elastigirl married somebody else. It wasn't the Chief. It was somebody else. I can't remember the name of the character, but I know Elastigirl married somebody else who and they adopted Garfield, aka Beast Boy, in the comics. But I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed this pilot. Again, plenty of F-bombs going around, some nudity and stuff in the beginning part of the episode, but it's the different personalities of these unique characters that makes this show what it is, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Okay, I do definitely highly recommend it, and I'm looking forward to all the next 12 episodes. So I would give the pilot episode, I would give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good, a way to introduce all the characters in there, and you got to know most of their backstories. Okay, except we haven't really learned about Crazy Jane, which I assume they're going to reveal later on about her different personalities and stuff, and you get more of the backstory of Larry Trainer, aka Negative Man, and more Elastigirl, aka Rita Farr, more of her backstory as well, which I think they'll do going forward. And of course, we'll get introduced to Cyborg as well. So I'm looking forward to, and the Chief also played by Timothy Dalton. I'm assuming they're going to go into his background as well. So we got 12 more episodes to go. I'm looking forward to it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I definitely highly recommend it. Check it out if you can. And I'm going to be here for all of it. Anyway, let me know what you think of the Doom Patrol Episode 1. What do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. I have links to my social media in the description box, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. I also have a link to my other channel called Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.